It's a Teen Talk Skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to a Teen Talk Skating podcast. My name is Van Gogh, and welcome to episode number 23 of Teen Talk Skating. We have a video essay type of episode again. I love making these episodes so much. They really get my brain firing, I think. I love to really analyze things and really kind of critically think about things. And so I think that's why I really love these. And I feel like it's something that's not discussed a whole lot in figure skating when a lot of emphasis is in the skaters and the sport and whatnot. But I really want to discuss this theme today, which I will explain in the intro after we have our program of the week, which will be right now. Also, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have had a great week. For those of you in America, perhaps you celebrated the 4th of July, and perhaps that's kind of what this episode's about. But yeah, now to our program of the week with new transitions. Ooh, kind of updated, whatnot. Okay, see you there. Bye. Program of the week. Okay, so our program of the week for episode 23. I hope the audio is okay. I am in a different location today. Something's going on in my room, so I am in a kind of different location, but I hope the audio is good still. Not like it was professional in the first place anyway, but I hope the audio is still good. But our program of the week, oh my gosh, I've been really enjoying Ice Dance for no reason this off season. First it was men's. I was rewatching tons of men's programs, and now I'm rewatching a ton of Ice Dance programs, even though I've never been the hugest fan. But I went back and watched 2018 Olympics free dance because we love. And Caitlin Weaver, Andrew Poirier, ooh, their Je suis malade free dance from the 2018 Olympics is just so good. And I mean, it's good. It's like that. It's like I don't know, it's like the ice cream you eat after the terrible day you've had at school or the terrible day you've had at work. It's ooh, it's that good. You know what I mean? But yeah, this is a program to Je suis malade perform by our, figure skating queen, Lara Fabian. And I really enjoy this program because of the emotion within it. And I definitely see ice dance as probably the most emotional discipline, I guess, where I feel emotion is really big. But I really do love this Je suis malade program because there's a few certain moments through the program, not even the official moves or anything. There is this moment right when Lara Fabian starts singing and the lyrics start coming through, that Caitlin Weaver, she kind of grabs the back of her blade like she's gonna do a Biellmann, but then Andrew Poirier, he lifts her up and then he spins around a few times. It's super cool to look at. And then when she's screaming out the last note in the song, she's really Je suis malade. When she's screaming at that last note, they have this beautiful straight line lift. She just looks like Caitlin Weaver when she's being held up by Andrew Poirier. She just looks so tall and infinite, and she just looks like she dominates the whole arena. And I just love that image of big strength and power from the both of them. I just loved it so much. And the facial expressions too, it's very they're not blank face, yes, this is our program, hello, yes, please give us good points. No, they're really oh my gosh, this is us, just be malade, you know what I mean? But they're so into it from both of them, and I really appreciate that. It's not I don't want to say it's the most complicated, hard to understand program ever, but it uses simplicity of pain, of emotion in a very beautiful way, and I really do appreciate that kind of art, and I love it. So yeah, Caitlin Weaver, Andrew Poirier, Je suis malade free dance, particularly at the 2018 Olympics, but their performance of that free dance that season was all great, I'm sure. So yep, definitely go check it out. And I will see you in the main part of the episode. That was your program of the week. Okay, everybody, let me close my water bottle. I hope that isn't too loud. I do have some podcast news. I don't know what happened. It happened again. I don't know why this keeps on happening to me, but episode 21 wasn't uploaded properly for some reason. It literally only had the intro and like the program of the week transition. So I don't know why, but the full episode of episode 21 is out. That was episode where I discussed Grand Prix assignments for women and ice dance. And so if you want to go check that out, I'm so sorry that it didn't get uploaded properly. It got uploaded properly on my end for Spotify for podcasters, but then when you actually looked on the Spotify app from like the, user interface, it showed it like 30 seconds. And I'm like, no, the episode was like literally an hour long. So yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I still don't know what's going on about that. But I'm gonna try to get better at like checking to make sure like the whole episode got uploaded and not just like the intro, because I don't know what's going on, if the audio is bugging out, glitching, like it just gets removed from the episode somehow, like the main audio with all the explanations and me ranting for 15 minutes, because we all love that. And I'm very, very sorry for all of that. And I also fixed the program of the week transitions because they had this metronome sound and it really annoyed me a lot. But yeah, that's that for our podcast news. But for our main episodes, you did probably see the title of this episode, Red, White, and Slow Decline, the Perception of Skating in America. And I try to make it sound very, very fancy. But, I try to play on, like, red, white, and blue, but red, white, and a slow decline, but whatever. We're gonna pretend I'm funny. So yeah, let's be honest, people. Figure skating is so not popular in the United States of America. Like, you're not gonna get, you're not cool. I hate to say it. You're not cool. You're not cool for watching figure skating here. It makes me really sad. Like, no one knows, like, a single skater these days. So I've written some notes. No one is really idolizing our skaters outside, fans. Like, I might say, like, oh my god, Jason Brown's, like, my idol. But, like, if you went to ask some, like, random kid at my school, they're like, what? Like, figure skating? Like, I don't do that. And, oh my god, it's hot, people. Oh my god, it's been in the hundreds this week. It's bad. But anyway, no one is idolizing our skaters, really. Like, I went, you don't, out of, like, 1,000 people, maybe, I don't think one of them would say, oh, my idol is this person. My idol is Jason Brown. My idol is Ilya Malinin. My idol is Amber Glenn, etc. I wouldn't say you're going to find anyone like that. It is a very small minority sport here in America. So, like, you're definitely not going to find a lot of people who are into skating, who do skating, like, recreationally or competitively. It's just not a very, like, big majority sport. It shares a lot of the, market or whatever. And, kind of, like, the sad thing is that, like, kids aren't growing up and they're like, I want to be so-so when I grow up. I want to be like this skater I saw at Nationals when I grow up. No one is really saying that. I mean, there definitely maybe are kids like, I want to be like Isabel Livido. I want to be like Amber Glenn. And that's, like, wonderful. But that's not, like, a bunch of kids. Not a bunch of kids. Like, the majority of the kids want to be, like, I don't know, Tom Brady, or they want to be, like, LeBron James and kind of things like that. And to compare to other sports, obviously, that they are other sports, but they are still sports, in my opinion. So it is kind of relevant to shape how small figure skating is in America. Whereas, basketball, like, oh, I want to be like Steph Curry. I want to be like, I don't know who else. Or, tennis. I want to be like Serena Williams. I want to be like Nadal. Soccer. I want to be like, I'm blanking, guys. I want to be like so-so in soccer. Or what else is there in America? Baseball. I want to be just like, I don't know. I want to be like, I don't know any sports, guys. I'm sorry. And I really do feel like that same kind of phenomenon is not really happening with skating. And so today I really want to dissect the current situation with the popularity of skating in America, how skating is seen, of course, the reasons why this is happening, and if there's anything we can do as viewers, but also the ISU and skating federations like Skate Canada, US figure skating, British ice skating, etc. What federations can do as a whole to increase popularity of skating, especially in America here, but I definitely do think this does apply to other countries as well. Obviously there's countries where figure skating is like very, very popular, and I will discuss that, but there are some skating, something in my mouth. There are some countries who have a similar case to the United States where figure skating is not the hugest sport, and so maybe this does apply to other countries as well. Great. So, the current situation, I literally wrote, LOL, what even is skating right now? And I don't mean to say skating is a big joke right now. It's serious sport, obviously. But skating, America, it's not really when you think of America, you don't really think, oh my gosh, figure skating. I remember, yeah, it's figure skating. You think a lot of other iffy things about our country, probably. And it's probably fair, but we're not gonna get into it. But maybe if you thought about sports in America, figure skating is definitely not probably your top thing unless you're a huge fan. It's probably basketball, football, soccer, baseball, etc., tennis, etc., But personally, I have a few personal anecdotes. I am pretty vocal about loving figure skating. If you know me, I love figure skating. I will not stop talking about it even though you have no idea what's going on. I'm very sorry to every single friend I annoy by talking about how much I just love Jason Brown all day, or how much oh my gosh, the drama at Worlds was so sad, or stuff like that. I'm so sorry for all the friends. But I've had people not come up to me. I've had friends mention skating to me based on of their own accord. I didn't tell them about something and we were talking about it. It's they heard about it or they saw it somewhere and they were telling it to me. So this was back in 2022. One friend mentioned Nathan Chen's 2022 Olympic performance, the free skate the day after it happened. It was a huge deal for me. Obviously, it was the first Olympics I had watched ever live, and the men's free skate was live and it was at my time zone. I could watch it and everything. And, this friend came up to me the day after and she's like, whoa, did you see oh my god. Did you see Nathan Chen's free skate or performance at the Olympics last night? I'm like, of course I did. Yeah. And that was super cool. That was the first time anyone's ever mentioned figure skating to me. I'm like, yes, I do know. And then another friend around the same time, there was that, scandal drama in the women's event. And she was like, hey, have you heard about this? I think she sent me a DM on Discord, actually, or something writing on Discord. She's like, have you heard about whatever happened here? And I was like, yeah, I have. It's totally tragic. I just don't. Everything is so, so awful. And yeah, and those are the very only 2 times anyone's ever mentioned, oh, have you seen this person before? Have you seen, did you hear about this? And yeah, the rest of the time is me ranting. And a little side note, because of that, because I only really know about figure skating, I never have any idea about, people in class talking about, whoa, did you see that football game or something? I don't know. It's dumb. I don't know. But I have no idea what they're talking about ever. But, I'm sure if I started talking about, oh my gosh, did you see that quad axel? They'd be like, what? And just to prove that I am a very professional podcaster, I even conducted some research. So I went on my Instagram and was like, hey guys, doing some research for, the best podcast in the world. I'm kidding. But I was like, what do you know about figure skating, if anything? And, it was the question box on Instagram. And so I have a few responses from friends who, follow me on Instagram and they answer my question. So the first friend, I'm not going to mention my friends' names. I promise to keep everyone anonymous. But friend number 1 said nothing really, which, not hopeful so far. Friend number 2 said you can't backflip, which technically wasn't wrong until like a month ago, because the ISU recently said, hey, we're going to allow like aerial elements or whatever as part of choreo sequence or part of choreo in general. And so I really do appreciate the effort from this friend for saying you can't backflip, which was technically right until about a month ago. So they are right. So we love, right? My own brother, who is so nice and so helpful, said the word no. Thank you very much for your response, brother. Friend number 3, we love, it says, that one Margot Robbie movie, which, I, Tanya, obviously is related to figure skating, so we love a good response. I don't know. I feel like I, Tanya isn't obviously like a huge like blockbuster, but I do feel like it had some part to do in like making figure skating a little, and I mean like a little tiny bit more apparent, I guess, to the American public at least. I have not watched I, Tonya myself. I definitely need to. But I am glad that this friend knows about I, Tonya. I have no idea. Maybe it is a true story, so I don't know if they know it's a true story. That'd be cool. Friend number 4 said 2 comments because we love. It's a difficult sport to master, which is so true. If you heard my rant from the last episode about how figure skating is such a big sport and it's such a hard sport, so true that it is a difficult sport to master. And they mentioned Songhoon from ENHYPEN does figure skating, which, if you don't know, ENHYPEN is a boy group, a K-pop boy group for Korean pop music. And one of the boys in the group, who is part of the group, is Park Sung-hoon from South Korea, and he used to be a figure skater. He competed, I think, mostly on the junior level, and then he transitioned into being part of a K-pop group, which, you know what? It's great. Figure skater to K-pop artist. I love that. And then friend number 5 said, I have no idea what figure skating. Guess it's figure stick figures, which, it's kind of like drawing on ice is what they're trying to get at, and I get it. But overall analysis of response, from I, Tonya to ENHYPEN to backflips, to me, it kind of shows that, there's no real direct to sport figure skating, right? I was hoping maybe someone would be like, oh, I know Yuzuru Hanyu, or I know so-and-so, but, I know this jump, but, there wasn't no real, direct point of figure skating, oh, yeah, I know what ISU stands for, I know what GOE is. It was more through pop culture, I, Tonya, ENHYPEN, and figure skating, not so popular. And of course, my friends, they're not the most accurate representation of the American public. Obviously, if you did a whole research study across all 50 states, what's with the fireworks, people? It is July 5th. But if you did a whole research study across the entire 50 states and the country and whatnot, I am sure you would get a better response. Maybe more people would say Michelle Kwan, la 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 la. And definitely not accurate, my friends. Probably not the most representative body of Americans there are. I don't know. But I do think that it shows a little bit that figure skating is not popular. So other evidence. So I do have some other smaller evidence. Commercials about figure skating. I don't remember the last time I genuinely saw a commercial for figure skating. I do remember back at the Olympic season, I guess, they did have an ad with it was clearly Amber Glenn, but she was hidden in the dark. It was a dark, it wasn't spotlights or anything. It was skating in the dark. It was clearly Amber Glenn, and we love her. But God, it's hot. It was Amber Glenn, and she was skating around, and that was the little ad for the Olympic figure skating event. And just in general, numbers wise, let's talk about Reddit, because I feel like Reddit is generally the fans, you know what I mean? Like, if you're on Reddit, that means you're really committed to being a fan. Because I feel like Reddit is where all the biggest fan communities are, Reddit and Discord, but I feel like Reddit is definitely a good indicator of something. I know it's not scientific. Okay. But figure skating Reddit has 63,000 members, which I have to say is not little at all. And that is considering the whole world, and that's not just the US, I have to say. And then NBA Reddit, the National Basketball League, right? Or no, wait, what does NBA stand for? National Basketball Association. There we go. It has 12 million members. Hockey is a fellow ice related sport. It has 2.1 million. And all of those numbers do have global international fans thrown in there. But I feel like that just shows how figure skating is not popular even worldwide in a sense, maybe in the English speaking world, I guess, because Reddit is generally in figure skating. I feel like figure skating Reddit is generally mostly the English speakers there. There are tons of people on there, and we all love, but I definitely see a lot of people from the US on there. But that's not all of them. I definitely see a lot of people from the US, from Canada, from some Australians there, some Swedes on there. I've seen people, if they host an event from the country, then, they're like, oh yeah, I'm from Lithuania. We're having the Europeans or whatnot. And yeah, Reddit's a bunch of different people, but I see a lot of Americans on there and a lot of Americans who also share this sentiment that that America is not the best place for figure skating fans. And another piece of evidence, I've tried so hard to convince friends, oh my gosh, you need to get into figure skating. I need to watch it with somebody, please. But I fail every single time. Just ask my friends. They know how hard I would try to be please, 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 watch figure skating. It's the best sport ever. And they're I don't think so. But yeah, overall consensus of the current situation, figure skating, not popular. Sorry. Don't move here if you really want to be. Don't move here if you're a huge skating fan and you think you're gonna find other skating fans. Yeah. And so obviously I really do think the most important thing is not just saying figure skating is not popular, but obviously evaluating the reasons why behind this is popular or it's not popular. And obviously there is not one cause. We've done this before in other video essays. There's not just one cause. It's not one person's fault. And I definitely do think oh my gosh, what am I doing? My train of thought. I definitely think that it's a multiple reason thing. It's very multifaceted. And yeah, I have a couple of reasons why I believe figure skating is not so popular in America, at least in America. First thing, I definitely see a lot of people think that figure skating is, a very girly sport. Figure skating is a very weak sport, and so, men can't do figure skating. It's so weak and la 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 la. But obviously, it's super untrue because men do figure skating and they have to be super athletic and super well trained, and it is not weak at all. And I really do think there's this awful stereotype in America, at least, where sports, when you think of sports I feel like we tend to think that they have to be super tough and super one-on-one. That's not every American, obviously, but in general, I feel like there is this general consensus, general viewpoint that, if you're talking about sports in America, you mean tough, we gotta win one-on-one, la 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 combat, we tackle each other, stuff like that. Similar to what I discussed last episode about how skating is a sport, I feel like those kind of similar things kind of come up. Why does this happen? I definitely think there's the reason behind the reason. Because figure skating is seen as that more artistic sport, very, dancing sport, I guess. Not true, but, I definitely think a lot of people see it as not weak, not worthy enough. It's totally totally lame, like, la la la. I do not agree at all, but people are awful sometimes. So yeah, so not true. And, obviously figure skating is not a sport for people who are weak. Like, you have to train. You have to, like, go get muscle and train and skate hours a day. And flexibility is a big thing. And so it's not a weak sport at all. In fact, figure skating is a sport for everyone. I think that is what sport should be. You can be a figure skater regardless of who you are, and you aren't somehow weaker than other people for doing it. But I definitely do think that is that viewpoint that we have in America that's just like, sports have to be tough, sports have to be, rough, and you gotta get dirty when you do it and stuff like that. And that's just so awful because it really, like, hurts people when you say that. And, like, be kind, people. And I feel like it really creates that stigma against the sport, and that's why maybe a lot of people are discouraged from going into it and discouraged from watching it as well. If it, like, how do you say, like, perhaps people don't want to turn on the TV and watch figure skating because, like, oh, it's like, you can't watch it. No, it's not cool. But figure skating is so cool. And then another one, why figure skating isn't popular, general accessibility of skating rinks. I personally live in it's not a huge town. I would say it's like a small city. Like, we aren't huge, but we have people. It's a small city in the 10,000s, and not the 10,000s, but there's multiple 10, you know what I mean? But I do live in a small city, and personally, we do not have a single ice rink here. We have an outdoor ice rink for about, I have no idea, like 2 weeks in December and then like 2 weeks in January, and it's open to like the public, and it's super expensive to skate. And, it's not like a professional ice rink. There's no, like, coaches there or anything. It's just, like, recreational skating for fun, like, to do with your family and friends and stuff. It's, like, definitely not it's, like, artificial ice, I'm pretty sure, too. It's not, like, you know what I mean? It's not, like, it's just real ice. How do you say, like, I don't know. There's the Zamboni. That's cool, I guess, but it is not like a super duper professional ice rink. There's coaches everywhere. There's harnesses to train your jumps with. It's not like that. It is just, fun, recreational, little activity you do with your family and friends. So I think in general, though, in America, I feel like at least where I live, it's, not common to do winter sports. It is not snow. There's no ice here or snow or anything. So, like, that definitely makes sense. If you live in, like, a colder region, one of the states with mountains, Colorado, I definitely see, like, winter sports are probably more advocated for there. But in most of the country where, there's not a lot of snow in most of the country, there isn't a lot of, there's no regions that it's, like, super duper cold in a lot of the country. Not very heavily pushed winter sports. Not just figure skating, but also skiing, snowboarding. Why am I blanking? Oh my gosh, like bobsledding, speed skating, etc. And I think that is due to geographic reasons. And, there isn't a rink every time you look. And let's compare to our neighbors up north, Canadians. We love Canada. And I do remember some random quote from a Canadian skater a long time ago. They were like, most Canadians, like, we learn to skate very, very young. It's like, you do figure skating or you do hockey. It just happens. Like, you know how to skate from very, very young age in Canada. I have no idea who said this quote. If you guys know, tell me. I have no idea who said that quote. But it was, like, somewhere along the lines of that, unless I'm making it up. Hope not. But, along those lines, it's like, oh, yeah, Canadians were, like, brought up knowing how to skate, figure skating or hockey. In America, it's definitely not the same. I definitely do think Again, geographically, Canada is a lot colder than the US. Yeah. Money, as I talked about in the last ranting episode, skating is an expensive sport. And so if you want to get into skating, it's very expensive. You want to get into skating as a competitor, even more expensive. If you just want to do recreationally, it's still expensive for ice time and skates and everything. And I really want to talk about the idea that I really do think figure skating becomes really popular when there is a big star in skating, and for an American star, at least in America, right? Kind of similar to what I talked about in the episode discussing kind of the effects of fame and everything. I think figure skating and fame have a interesting relationship because when a really famous skater comes up and they're, the best at everything, I really do feel like that puts their name to the spotlight, and it puts the sport as a result in the spotlight as well, at least in America. And I really do think that Michelle Kwan, for example, was such a big skater for so long, and she was very much a household name type of skater, and she really put figure skating into the spotlight. And right now, I really do think that we have big names. Ilya Molina is a big name. He's even, had his name. There was like an episode about him on like NPR or something, I remember. He's big, but he's not like household name big. Like if I went out and mentioned Ilya Molina, I doubt that like a lot of anyone would know what, at least where I'm from, like maybe it's different where in different regions of the US. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but if I went out to like my school and I asked teachers like, hey, do you know who Ilya Molina is? Or I asked like my other, like my fellow classmates, do you know who that is? And they probably say no. I have to say. And so, I definitely do, I have to say, I think this has to do with longevity in the sport as well, because skating is not a sport where you can do it for, you can compete for 20 years. Like, I feel like most skaters are lucky if their career hits like 10 years, honestly. And I really do think that's like unfortunate. And, if you really want to have a lot of longevity, being injury free is so difficult and so important at the same time. And so, yeah. And so I feel like if you want to become a big name in the sport, you have to be able to stay injury free and have a lot of longevity to build you up, because it isn't a sport where, whoa, you're suddenly the next Steph Curry. No, it's kind of like you have to make your way up. You have to climb that ladder of fame. And yeah, and so I don't really see like big name endorsements or advertising with skaters on TV. Yeah. Okay, another reason why figure skating is not popular in the US. Skating accessibility on TV. Oh my gosh, this makes me so, not mad, but it just makes me really sad for this sport. So, full competitions aren't shown on TV. For me particularly, I'm someone who only has cable. I don't own any streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and, Amazon Prime Video, right? And, whatever else there is, like HBO or whatever, HBO Max. I don't own, like, any of those. I only have cable, and so, I do try to watch. Obviously, I love this sport. I try to watch as much skating as I can, but full competitions in America, at least, they aren't shown on regular cable TV, except for Worlds. I was able to watch, you can watch the pretty much entirety of Worlds. The only thing is, it's like you don't get to watch like all 24 men in the free skate. It's just like the top 12, basically, which is kind of unfortunate, but I understand because time or whatever. But so even for Grand Prix, which are very major events, like I would say like Grand Prix are equivalent to like an NBA match, like any other NBA match that is on TV. In terms of like the importance of it, Grand Prix are really important, but all I see usually is a recap of men's and women's for 2 hours. That's the only thing I see. And it'll usually be like 6 men, 6 women. Maybe they'll show a video of a pair or whoever won the ice dance event. Maybe. That's like a maybe. Same for four continents. For the 2 hour rule. Europeans, it's a little different recently. Like the past 2 years, they have shown some parts of Europeans live. Like I did get to watch Ice Dance Free Dance live at Europeans this year. I don't know exactly why it's not the same for 4CC for four continents, but yeah. And so that's the TV part, right? And so you might be saying, okay, like if you can't watch it on TV, watch it on YouTube. But if you're from the US and you want to watch a skating competition from the ISU on YouTube, it is blocked. So if you want to watch a Grand Prix, if you want to watch any of the championship events, it is blocked. And it's just so difficult to really, I really want to watch, the free skate at this event for this discipline. Like, I can't because it's blocked, and it's just so sad. Like, even if you try to live stream it, like, as the event is happening, it is still blocked. And then if you want to watch it after, it is blocked as well. And so, it's just really, really frustrating for me to, get around that. And I'm sure it's frustrating for all you. Like, I know I'm starting to get angry, and I'm like, yeah, it's blocked. And so your best bet is, if somebody went to the competition and they take, a fan cam video from the audience, which usually is not, unfortunately, the best quality. Or your other best bet, perhaps someone, recorded the stream and, uploads it on YouTube and you're able to watch it. Kind of things like that. You have to try to get what you want. But you're not going to be able to get, exactly the skater you want and the performance you want. It's usually pretty random about who you can see, depending on what fans uploaded what. It's really random. So, you might be saying, okay, can't watch it on cable, you can't watch it on YouTube. Why don't you just get the streaming service? And, you had to purchase a subscription to Peacock, I believe, right? Peacock, which is... I'm a teen, and so I don't have that financial capacity to do that, to make a subscription. But, if I did, I totally would. But let's say, you're a brand new fan, right? And you're really interested in skating. You want to watch more and more. You have to buy the subscription if you want to watch skating. And it does include other sports, and that makes it good. Like, if you're already a fan of soccer and you also want to be a fan of figure skating, then you can just use the same subscription. But if you're just, not into sports at all and you're really interested into figure skating. Sorry, let me, clear up everything. Okay. You're into figure skating. You really want to get into figure skating. You think it's so cool. You've seen Grand Prix or the championships, and now you want to watch all the competitions ever. And for the prices that I researched, for premium, I have no idea really what it really means. $60 for premium plus on Peacock, $120. So, it is a financial commitment. A lot of people, maybe for a lot of people that isn't a lot of money, but to me that is quite a lot of money. If you're a new fan and you're you're interested in it, but you're not if you're really interested and you want to watch more, $60 and $120, it can be, kind of pricey. Perhaps you don't have a lot of money and you still want to watch. It is pretty pricey. And so, yeah, Personally, I do not have that streaming service. I have no idea what the experience is like for other people. But yeah, it's just, to me, that's pricey to watch skating. To me, that's pricey. And it is that subscription, that price is for a year. But skating is not the whole year. So in that downtime, in the summer, there's no skating like right now. There's no big competitions. What do? Your subscription is just going, and I'm assuming you can cancel it and stuff like that, but to me, it's no. Yeah. And, the reason for this, I really do feel because primetime TV is a thing, of course, everything, unfortunately, is kind of about money. Everything is kind of a business these days. They have to show what sells, right? And at the end of the day, if figure skating doesn't sell, then they don't put it on primetime TV. They don't put it on TV at all. They put it on a streaming service and say, only really the most devoted fans will go and watch, unfortunately. And I really do think it's a cycle, right? If fans don't watch skating, it becomes less popular. And so if it's less popular, they think, oh, we shouldn't show it, so it becomes less available if it isn't selling, and then less people watch it. That's kind of how I think it works. So less people watch, becomes less popular. They show it less because it's less popular because they don't think they're going to make money. And so it becomes less available, and it's just an endless cycle of it being less popular, and they're making less money from figure skating, and, it's an endless cycle. And then last kind of section about why I think the sport is a little unpopular. I have to say, the sport is confusing. Even I've been watching figure skating for almost 3.5 years now, which is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And even I don't know all the key points in, a straight line lift and ice dance. It is hard, I have to say, to keep your track of like every single rule. Even I don't know exactly what is required for a level 4 step sequence. I know like a few things here and there. I pick up a few things, but if you're just a casual person who's just, oh, whoa, you want to watch some figure skating, mom, on TV? And you're both watching, and like you're beginners in the sport. You don't know what's going on, and like, what's base value? What's GOE? What's the component score? Oh, why did that person win when they fell and the other person didn't fall? It is kind of confusing to watch. It is kind of a mess. It takes a long time for that, and I feel like you really do have to do your own research. If you just watch on the stream with no commentary, you don't get any info. With commentary, I do think they try to explain a little bit, but they don't have enough time to commentate and explain to you this entire scoring system in however long they do. They gotta commentate these programs, right? And they might mention negative GOE for whatever, deduction for whatever, but what does that mean? Can you explain more? And I don't think it's the commentary, anyone's fault for commentary at all, because it is difficult to do that explanation. The sport is confusing to watch. It is different from other sports. There's no other sport like this, really. I would say maybe the closest is gymnastics, where you have your difficulty, which is kind of like base value. You have your execution, which is kind of like GOE. But even that's definitely not the same system at all to figure skating. And, compared to a sport like basketball, it's so much clearer. Oh, you just shoot and you get a point or 2 or 3 or whatever. And so skating's got decimals, it got deductions, it got, multiplication, and I wanted to watch figure skating. When did this become math class? You know what I mean? It is confusing, and I think that's a big turnoff for some people in this sport, is that it's straight up messy, and because it's messy, it's confusing. And I definitely get that. Messy. And so if you say okay, so when has figure skating become popular if it isn't popular right now? I think it's really only popular when there's a lot of drama. 1994 Olympics, in the women's event, 78.8 million people watched the 1994 women's event at the Olympics because of the drama that was going on at that time. Compare it to the 2022 Olympics, there was apparently an average of 14.04 million viewers, according to MVP Index. That is a whole lot less, and you would think it's decades later, people have more accessibility to TV, but they're not watching skating. So I do think drama has to do with it. Unfortunately, I really wish this sport did not become popular because of drama. That's not the right way for this sport to become good, you know what I mean? But I definitely do think, in the Michelle Kwan era, people looked at her as a hero of America. Again, that big star. And so I think, again, that was a little popular as well. Okay, let's look at other countries, because U.S., is not the only country in the world. So I do want to recognize U.S. at least has figure skating and has infrastructure for figure skating. At least it provides streams for figure skating. Because unfortunately, a lot of countries don't have that figure skating infrastructure. It's even more unpopular in those countries. People might not even know skating. And so I do want to recognize at least the U.S. has that structure. And I'm hoping one day figure skating can become really, really global and really, really popular in all countries. And everyone can watch skating together, holding hands, hugging. So flip side of that, there is countries where figure skating is insanely popular. And I'm talking like South Korea's figure skating, Japan is figure skating. Oh, people in Japan just love figure skating. I love Japan, you know. One thing, Japan even shows junior competitions on TV. Like, I can't imagine the US showing junior competitions. That'd be crazy. And so, you know, in South Korea and Japan, some skaters become, you know, celebrities, basically. Yuna Kim became very, very popular in South Korea. Yuzuru Hanyu in Japan, tons of skaters in those countries. And, you know, the US isn't one of those countries, but I'm hoping one day, people. I'm hoping one day, okay? So, and, you know, I want to end off talking about solutions because we got problems. How do we get solutions? How do we get solutions, Van Gogh? There is no solution. I'm kidding. So what can we do as fans? Convert more people. Find more people. Okay? Find more people. Make them watch skating. I don't care if they get bored. So figure skating, how I think figure skating is popular mostly is word of mouth. I feel like word of mouth is a big thing. Like, oh, you know, you want to watch this skating competition tonight, like, friend? I don't know. Like, word of mouth is a thing, and so I feel like word of mouth, like, I always see sometimes on, like, Reddit or something, like, oh, I got into figure skating because of, you know, my friend, because of my mom, because, you know, stuff like that. Like, word of mouth is a thing, of course, in all sports. Like, I don't know, I wish people were more open to watching it, I guess, but I understand, like, people don't want to, but, like, I wish. Social media seems to be really effective. I feel like a lot of figure skaters are becoming popular on social media. We talk about, like, Amber Glenn, I know, has a huge social media presence. You know, Roman Stotsky has a YouTube channel of his with a few 10,000s or something. Other skaters who are really popular, I'm like blanking. Yuzuru Hanyu, obviously. And even if they're not competitive skaters, but I feel like I on Instagram at least, I see a lot of real on YouTube as well. I see, like, you know, my skating journey and things like that, like, from recreational people who are skating recreationally, and they're becoming popular as well, which I love so much. And I feel like social media is, like, really into it. I really do think federations need to do better. US figure skating, if you are listening to this, open up the streaming on YouTube. It will make the sport so popular. Please don't block it, okay? Because if you make the streams more accessible and people can actually watch the sport, people are going to be more interested, and people are going to, you know, want to watch more when it's live on TV, and the sport will be saved. Advertise figure skating more effectively. I don't know how this would necessarily happen, but, like, I don't know, advertisements, like, on TV, I never see advertisements for, like, you know, U.S. national figure skating, or I don't really see any, like, major, you know, things like that. I really wish, like, come on, guys, like, let's watch some skating, please. Okay, stereotypes, oh my gosh, obviously I discussed earlier the stereotypes about figure skating. Huge problem, and I feel like any stereotype is very difficult to defeat in the end anyway. You're always going to have people who say, you know, figure skating is this, figure skating is that, and that's hard to defeat, honestly, that stereotype. But we just gotta, like, I think we gotta look past that. I hope people start not thinking that way, and I hope people start watching skating and realizing, no, this sport is very serious, and it's very difficult. Yeah. Another thing, guys, like, if you can, just sit people down, have them watch skating, trap them in a chair, lock them in chains if you need to, I don't know. Just make them do it. Okay. Last little bit, what can ISU Federation and Skating Federations do? Advertisements and more media pieces. I think ISU is a little, not behind, but, like, they need some help with their little social media side, I feel like. And I really do think they're really trying to do it, especially with the ISU Awards. I love ISU Awards because I think there's so much fun to do in, like, the middle of the season, having ISU Awards. It's so much fun. And I think it's a great example of how they're really trying more to be more cool and like, oh yeah, we have an awards day and we have to give out awards to your favorite skaters and their costumes and everything. I really do think, like, I love the idea of the ISU awards for skating. I genuinely think it's good and I hope they continue it because I feel like it does make the sport more exciting to see, like, ooh, who won this and who won that. It is something I actually look forward to seeing every year. I hope they do more kind of things. I do remember, like, a few years ago, or maybe, like, last year, they had, like, they're trying to do more, like, fluff pieces with, like, different skaters. Like, a day in my life with this skater, or, you know, how this skater trains every day. I wish they did more stuff like that, genuinely, and, you know, high quality stuff like that. That is, you know, like, how does the skater train? What's the skater's warm-up routine? Or stuff like that. What I see, if you guys remember, there was this Olympic Channel series called On Edge, where they followed ice dance teams from IAM, the Ice Dance Academy in Montreal or something. Oops. International Academy in Montreal, right? But they follow them around in their lives and, like, how they train, what's their lives like, and I thought that was a cool idea. Better social media, like, I don't know, like, I want more, like, cool, like, YouTube shorts and TikToks and Instagram reels that, like, make figure skating go viral, because that'd be so cool as well. Again, open up streaming. Let's do it, people. I wish ISU interacted with fans a lot more, like, I don't know. I wish they did fan stuff a lot more. Like, I don't know what it would necessarily entail, but I wish they did, like, you know, like a fan vote. Or no, I guess they do it with the ISU awards. I wish they did, like, I don't know what it'd really be, but I wish they did more, like, stuff with fans. It's just, ISU needs to feel more connected to the fans, I think, if they want the sport to be more popular, and they need to interact, really, and really, like, say, like, hey, this, and I don't know what it would be, but they need to, like, interact more. They need to connect more. We gotta be together, you know? Because in the end of the day, like, they don't have a sport without having fans to watch the sport. Oh my god, ticket prices. Lower ticket prices, like, why do I have to sell my arm and my leg to go see Jason Brown Nationals, guys? Like, lower the ticket prices. Okay, so yeah, that was the episode. Again, I know there was a lot of ranting, but today we discussed, I'm gonna close this up with a nice summary. Today we discussed the current situation with the popularity of figure skating, including some very nice Instagram answers from my friends. We discussed the reasons why I believe figure skating is not so popular in the US. And we discussed the solutions to this issue. What can we do? And yeah. So in closing, I would like to say that I thank you all for watching. I really do hope that in the future, there is a greater prominence of figure skating restored to, you know, maybe what it was decades before, and how it's just such a big sport. And, you know, I hope our skaters can become, like, a household name one day, and people are excited to watch figure skating. People want to go to nationals. People want to watch worlds and things like that. So, thank you so much for watching this episode of 18 Talk Skating Podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you enjoyed this episode on America's perception of figure skating. Next episode, we have a kind of fun idea about, it's new, it's kind of fun, it's kind of new, and I really think that it's going to be a little fun. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode of 18 Talk Skating. See you next week. Bye-bye.